Hello, my name is Ana and I'm going to talk about problem number 4. Okay. This is the content of some things I'm going to talk about. This was my research problem, and my research assignment was to select the method of cheese production to determine the specific characteristics of quark cheese and to qualitatively and quantitatively analyze the products. I made cheese from 2 different milks in the same way. Quark cheese is white in color and soft in consistency, and the essence of cheese production is coagulation of its protein. The basic process differences are the way in which proteins coagulate, so it can happen 3 ways. First one is by adding acid. We can either add acetic or citric acid or yogurt or something with mesophilic cultures which have lactic acid bacteria. The second way is by action of proteolytic enzymes, but this way is usually used when making semi-hard or hard cheeses. And the third way is by increasing the heat. Basic ingredient that I used was milk, and milk is made of water, protein, milk fat, and carbohydrates. Now I'm going to about one of them. Water in milk comes in 2 forms, bounded and unbounded. Unbounded water we can find as a solvent of other milk ingredients, and bounded water we can find in small amounts of substances. Milk fat is a complex of lipid substances, and within it has dissolved some vitamins, flavor ingredients, and pigments which can't be dissolved in water, and it comes in the forms of globules, as we can see here. Lactose is carbohydrate, which means complex sugar. It is composed from molecules of glucose and galactose, which are simple sugars. And under the influence of microorganisms, it is dissolved up to lactic acid. Proteins are composed from amino acids connected with peptide bonds. Casein is the protein that is in the milk. It comes in the forms of mycelium, and its stability is decreased by the increase of acidness and temperature, which leads to protein coagulation. This is the process of fermentation. It is the process in which lactose, which is made of galactose and glucose, it is dissolved up all the way to lactic acid with an action of enzyme called lactate dehydrogenase. We made cheese by boiling 3.5 liters of milk and then adding 30 milliliters of vinegar. Then we dried it out. These are some pictures of how we made cheese. We made the goat cheese in the same way. These are results that we got. This is the cheese mass. Here we can see that goat cheese, we got a lot less goat cheese, but we used the same amount of milk. And here you can see that we got a lot more cheese away from goat milk. These are some microbiological analysis that we did. Here we can see that some of the bacteria are absent and others are either absent or in very small quantities. These are some of the petri dishes that we used. These are some chemical analysis that we did. We measured the acidness of milk in 2 ways. We did pH and we did the other one. And also here we can see that cow milk has a lot more milk fat than goat milk, and goat milk is a little bit more acidic than cow milk. Here is the pH of cheese. I did 3 cheeses of every single one of the milk. Their pH is almost the same. This is milk fat in my cheeses. We can see that there is a lot more milk fat in cow cheese. These are some other chemical analysis that we did. Here are percentage of difference with respect to cow milk value. We can see that cow milk has less water, more protein, more milk fat, less lactose, and it's less acid than goat milk. Here we can see the same things for cheese. Cow cheese has less dry matter, more milk fat, and less protein than goat milk cheese. Here are some pictures of chemical analysis that we did. And my conclusions are the higher the water content, the more whey we will get, and the less cheese. And if milk has a lot more milk fat, it will result in getting a lot more cheese. Microbiological analysis showed very similar results for almost all our products. And in fresh milk, one bacteria was discovered, so it was required before using it to heat it up, to boil it to kill all the bacteria. And for my further work, I would like to investigate the methods which we can change the flavor, the taste of whey, maybe for children, or add a flavor and maybe add some healing herbs to our cheeses to make it taste better. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, the opponent can start.
Okay, can you go back to the slide number 15? What's on your axis?
Here are I made 3 cheeses. So this is first one, second one, third one, first one, second one, third one, and this is just the average.
Okay.
And on this side is nice.
Okay, and go back to slide number 12. Can you explain me this chemical reaction? I mean fermentation.
Lactose is a carbohydrate made of galactose and glucose. Glucose is dissolved up to pyruvic acid. It's a process called glycolysis, and then pyruvic acid, with the action of enzyme called lactate dehydrogenase, is dissolved up to lactic acid, which we can find in milk.
Okay, is it the only product of fermentation, or
No,
is more?
there are more. I think you get some carbon dioxide with it.
Okay, why didn't you write it? Okay, then go back to slide number 9. And what is this next to pH?
These are some degrees. They're not made by, but they're called Sox-Klett-Hankel degrees, and they are used to measure acidity in milk and dairy products.
How can you explain it?
We took some milk and then we put some phenolphthalein in it. Then we put some so. Can I write it down? I'm not sure how to spell it in English.
Okay.
Then we use that. And
Why?
Because it is opposite of the acid, and the phenolphthalein will react with this and change the color. So we used amount of this to enough
Okay,
to change.
phenolphthalein won't react, but
Then you won't react. Sorry, I said, but it will change its color to purple.
okay.
Time's up. Okay, preparation of the opponent. Have 3 minutes.
So I think the problem is when she was explaining the theory, it's great that she explained every step of fermentation and of a reaction, but she didn't explain what about the chemical bonds and production of chemical reactions. She has measured the consistency of milk, and cons was that she didn't give us details about the way how did she measure pH or temperature, and what about temperature during the whole process. And about values, she mentioned in plot, she didn't know exactly what values she measured and what are they actually, but it's great that she did that. And here are points of discussion, so we can start.
Can I start from the analysis first?
I would like to discuss first about the process of chemical reaction.
I'm not sure about that, but I will learn that for Georgia.
Okay. Then a way of measuring. How did you measure pH, and what about temperature during the process?
The temperature was 22.6 degrees Celsius, and we
The whole
measured.
time?
Yes.
And where did you measure?
We measured it with a pH meter. It has like a needle that you stick in your cheese.
I'm asking about temperature.
Oh, pH meter has the temperature written on it.
Okay, so you measured the temperature of solution, I mean of milk.
No, I think it's measuring the temperature in the air.
In the air. So is it important that you control the temperature in air or in solution?
I think it won't affect the result so much. Maybe a little bit, but I don't think.
What if we start cooking milk? Can we get cheese? In what conditions is cheese made?
It's made. The cheese is made by increasing the acidity and temperature. So
So temperature affects or doesn't affect?
it affects cheese, but you're not going to stick a pH meter in boiling cheese. It will melt everything. Boiling milk from cheese.
Okay, but you said that temperature doesn't matter.
It does matter.
So
but
if you have
like a Celsius, the 1 Celsius degree won't change the result a lot. But if we change a lot, if we change temperature,
what if we change it for 100 degrees?
it will affect. Something will happen.
What?
We will get burned milk. If you raise,
But can you get the cheese with the temperature of milk?
you know, I don't
Why?
think so. Because there is no acidity. It's not acid.
Okay, you said that in hot milk we don't have acids.
We do, but not enough to make the proteins.
So concentration of acids is dependent on temperature.
No, it's not. I added vinegar when I boiled the milk.
Okay, but can we get the cheese on with milk, with hot milk?
I don't think so. I haven't tried it, but I don't think so. We can make.
Why? You said that we don't have enough acidity to make cheese if milk is hot.
Yes, that is my opinion.
Okay.
We can make whey cheese out of whey if we raise the temperature, because whey's proteins are.
So why temperature is important?
It's important because if you add vinegar to the cold milk, again you won't get any cheese. Proteins will not coagulate.
Okay, so it's problem in proteins with temperature.
Yes, they will not coagulate. And
Why?
the essence of making cheese is coagulation of proteins.
Why are proteins dependent on temperature?
Because when you raise the temperature, the particles are moving much faster, and maybe that's why they coagulate at higher temperatures.
Okay, but have you any idea maybe temperature will change protein?
I don't know. In some temperature, I mean, it probably can get burned, but I'm not sure. I haven't done that.
Okay. And you said you will improve your experiment, something about taste. Can you give me more details on it?
I said I could improve my. I won't do it.
Okay. How would you quantify measure the taste?
The last question.
I don't think I would quantify it. I think I would just try experimenting with different
Okay.
tastes.
Okay, now the reviewer has time for clarifying questions.
Okay, so to the presenter, you have lots and lots of results. Would you tell me which is the most important result in cheese, let's say?
I think it's the proteins because, I mean, all of them are important, but I think most important are milk, fat, and protein. Because that's why people will usually buy something that's high in protein and maybe low in milk fat. If they want to, I don't know, get thin, or if they want something creamy, they'll probably buy cheese or milk with more milk fat.
Okay, so could you go to your presentation to the first two graphs?
My first draft.
Yeah. Could you just explain why is cow cheese greater in mass than goat cheese?
Because it has more milk fat and less, so that was shown later in, it has more dry matter and more milk fat in it.
Okay, so how did you decide to choose cow and goat cheese?
I wanted to do an experiment with all kinds of milk and then to analyze the products and see which ones are the healthiest, in which one you will get more cheese. But I couldn't find milk from a sheep and a horse, so I will add that later.
And could you go to the microbiological analysis and explain it a bit more? You went quite quick over it.
These Salmonella and Listeria bacteria are absent. The rest of them here are, these are the actual results that we got from the lab. It wasn't, you can see it can be less than 10 or 0. It doesn't explode.
Okay, so...
Okay, time's up.
Okay.
So you have 2 minutes for preparation.
So to the opponent, you had a structured and quality questions. You made the presenter explain everything that she missed through the presentation and made the presentation complete, but you got stuck on the temperature of the milk in the discussion and you talked all the way through it, but incomplete. It was a great opponent. And to the presenter, you had lots of graphs on the results, which is great, but you can't explain them all perfectly. And you talked quite quick, and I couldn't understand everything, but that's okay. And you had the great presentation, great explanation at the end, and that's about it.
Statement by the opponent.
Okay, I would say thank you, and in future I have some points for your presentation. Maybe you talked too fast, and plots and graphs like this, you're going through it so fast, so maybe next time you should keep them short for a little longer. And that's it.
Statement by the reporter.
I would like to thank the reviewer and the opponent for everything that they said. The opponent made me explain things that I missed, and I thank them. That's it.
Okay, question by the jury. Graham, can you start?
Okay. I didn't catch what were your hypotheses?
I'm sorry.
What were the hypotheses in the experiment?
I actually didn't have any because I didn't write here any, but my hypotheses were that the goat cheese will have more protein than milk cheese.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you should have written that down. Okay, and from this data in the table, what can we draw some conclusions? I don't know, something that would be interesting for non-experts in cheese.
Okay, here we can see in this, this is the fresh milk. It's not been boiled or pasteurized. Here we can see some bacteria and yeasts are in the milk, and here we can see in cheeses that there are none of them. There is less than 10. So when I boiled the cheese, when I boiled the milk to make cheese, I killed all the bacteria.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Could you go to the slide number 15? Yeah, here it's somehow weird to see you have a magnified range from 500 to 700, and you're showing differences here, but the relative differences are not as big as you can see it here. So maybe it's somehow visually it could give us wrong information. What was the result of the experiment? It's just a small comment. Okay. Do you know if there are some macroscopic properties of the cheese that we can see based on what we did in the production of this cheese? Is it stiff or something like that?
It's when you make it, it's very soft, but then we dried it out by applying weight on it, and then we made it a little bit more hard because we pressed it together, and later when it dried in the air, it got like a little rust.
Okay. I meant it would be interesting to see if I don't know you changed the ratio of milk and water. I don't know what was what ingredients you had. what will happen in the end. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? You don't have to answer it. It's just an interesting thing. What could be done?
I have a comment on that question. Like you could measure the hardness of the product cheese, or you could measure the density, maybe, or some other physical properties.
Yeah. And it would be also interesting to see the comparison of the data you showed in the table with some industrial standards, if they can be, if you can get those. And the last question, if you had to make the cheese, would you use goat milk or cow milk, and why?
I personally would use cow milk because goat milk has specific smell that I personally don't like.
Okay. That's all from my side.
Okay, I have questions. So first, what is mesophilic culture?
It is,
You can go on that slide if that helps you. I think 6th slide.
those are cultures that contain lactic acid material.
Okay. Also, I have a few more questions. So you have the basic difference in cheese production is coagulation of protein. So what of these? What have you changed by this? Or is this? So you have a list of things that you can change, or?
By every single one of those ways, the result will be different.
Okay, what things have you changed?
I didn't do those. Those are just lists that we can do. I didn't. I did the first one with acetic acid. I added vinegar
Okay.
because these other ones are used in making hard cheeses and white cheese.
Okay, maybe you should know that when you're telling this slide, why you changed only that one. Okay. What is SH? SH. What it shows you, and how is it different from a pH?
It is the number of milliliters multiplied by 1.000 of NaOH that we have to use to make the phenolphthalein in the milk go purple.
When the phenolphthalein is purple, what does it mean to you?
It means that
Is it neutral, acidic, or the third one?
Here comes the third one. I'm not
Okay.
sure how to say it.
Basic, yes. What is pH?
pH is a method of it's how to
You can tell it in Croatian. That helps.
pa to je kao način na koji ćemo izmjeriti da li je neka otopina lužnata, kisela ili neutralna. Zapravo
It measures acidity of the solutions. When you're putting a table on the presentation, you should guide us through and maybe try to use your hands on, or if you will have a laser, then try to guide us through the table, because the table is big and you have a little time, and you know, I need a few seconds just to concentrate, okay, what your slide is telling us, okay, then what you have on the table, and then it's good to guide the audience through the table. Elena asked you about the temperature. You changed your. I think that your arguments were confusing and some of them were contradictory. That's the first, because she asked you, did you measure temperature? You say, I measured pH. Okay, just say you have a thermometer on that meter. You don't need to say it's a pH meter. You just say it's a thermometer and you measured. And when, on where. Because it confuses the opponent, and then they will ask you to clarify that, and there is a possibility that the jury won't understand what are you talking about. Okay, why do you think that 1 Celsius of change won't matter, but other will? We can see that here by the action of heat from 90 to 95 degrees, it will change the difference in the cheese production, and it tells us that 1 degree Celsius won't change anything.
I think I said it wrong. I thought when she asked me about measuring the pH in the cheese, that pH meter has the thermometer on it or in it. So if the temperature, it was 22.6 degrees. Later it was 23 degrees, but it was still the same result, the pH. That's what I meant.
Okay. You just need to be clear when you're talking about that. And try not to go, I'm not sure what was Lucas' first question, but you went to discussion why would someone buy cheese if they want to be thin or not. I wouldn't go into that discussion. I would just stay with, and also I think that the flavor, okay, it's a relevant maybe parameter, but it's difficult to quantify. And you said that you would just test on a small number of people, or a small group of people, so children. I think that maybe you should investigate physical properties, not the taste, which is more subjective and which could be a whole different area. Maybe you could do that, but try to put that in additional slides. Yes. You said your hypothesis, but why do you think that would be that way?
I don't know, because everyone is talking that goat milk and goat cheese is very healthy, so I just assumed.
Okay. So maybe you should try to solve the problem in terms of physical and chemical properties, not in terms of what people like or what is some subjective meaning of cheese, because it can be objectively find out what are chemical composition of that cheese, what is you measure some of or really relevant parameters here, so you should maybe stick to them. And properties of the resulting product, you know, when they make cheese in factory, yes, they will check the taste, but they will also try to check the other parameters. So, and maybe to try to be more objective about it, so hardness and density and similar.
Okay, just a few questions. So on this slide, could you explain how, in which ways does the heat influence the production? Just in a simple way.
I'm not sure, but I think it increases the moving of the molecules.
So it brings up the energy to the system, or I mean, it does make the process faster, or
maybe I'm not sure about
Okay, do we need any heat at all?
I think we do.
Okay, well, okay, that's okay. The other question is for Elena. You told us that the first thing you told us is that the problem is solved. Could you elaborate on that?
I mean, she made cheese.
Okay, so that is the direct connection between your answer and okay. Okay, that'll
I mean,
go.
it's solved,
I have
but
more.
It has more parameters to it.
When you say about the problem statement and you didn't even read the problem statement or just say what was her motivation, what she needed to do, you know. Make cheese and find the properties. You just said the problem is solved. Also, I'm not completely with that. It has some things that can be improved, but it's okay. Yeah. Just don't say the problem is solved, please.
It's not entirely solved.
Rather try to say what she did, you know. Okay, she made cheeses from this kind of milks and she found out the chemical composition of, or biochemical composition, yes. I have a few questions from Dom Gagajski. You mentioned the activity of proteolytic enzymes in slide 6. How do such enzymes work and why does the cheese get harder? Second, yeah.
I don't know.
Well, in that case, you should or learn why or try to learn it from slide because you said by yourself that you investigated the first point, okay? What's a globule?
Globule are like little balls of milk fat.
Okay. Why does fat make globules in water? So why do they form?
Because water does not mix with fat.
Okay. How did you find out which bacteria are there?
We did some microbiological analysis. We used some petri dishes and then we poured the solution that will grow some bacteria on it and then we put some milk or cheese or whey or something in and then a few days at some temperature it will grow bacteria.
Okay, can you go to slide 18? So what are the dots in the petri dishes?
Those are the staphylococcus bacteria that I mentioned here.
Okay. That's it.
And they disappeared when we boiled the milk. They
Okay.
didn't disappear